I am 100% in favor of the death penalty, not because I think it deters criminals, but because I think it can be used for plea bargains, and I think that the families deserve some type of vengeance or justice. A lot of people say that we shouldn't have vengeance, but I completely disagree. I think that when you lose somebody from murder, that's a choice that you should have. However, I can't really support the death penalty in America because the state governments and the federal governments are completely untrustworthy and completely incompetent. I can't trust the federal government to give me an accurate percentage of the unemployed. How the hell can I trust these guys to actually execute the right person? I'm not against executing a murderer, somebody who murders a child or murders someone in cold blood without any type of justification. What I'm against is murdering the wrong person, and it appears as though we're doing exactly that. Now, there's a whole controversy over Troy Davis. Now, this guy was he was applying for clemency, but the board voted against it by a vote of 3-2. First of all, if you're voting 3-2 against clemency, then obviously you guys aren't that sure, and you shouldn't be putting the guy to death if you're that if you're that conflicted. Okay, a 2-3 vote doesn't mean you should be actually executing somebody. It should be unanimous. It should have been 5-0. I actually think 5-0 to execute somebody makes a lot more sense than 3-2. Moreover, there's a history in this country of racial bias in punishing people with the death penalty. This is something that has been a real big problem. There's been studies that show that blacks were more likely to receive the death penalty than whites. But going beyond that, I'm sure there's white people who have been executed wrongly, because the Innocence Project has actually helped people get out of prison, actually clear their names. And some of these people have been mentally challenged or something. It's really despicable. I mean, it seems like every month I hear about some black dude being released from prison. Sometimes they're white guys being released from prison after 23 years or so in prison. He's been exonerated, and there's this big media circus, and there's this press conference, and they always ask him the same dumbass questions, like Leroy, after being locked up for 23 years for a crime that you didn't commit, are you at all bitter? And they always get the same crazy ass answers, such as, "Oh no, I'm just happy to be out. I like to thank my lawyer." I'm thinking, hell yeah, I'm mad. I've been locked up for 23 years. And what really pisses me off is they don't actually compensate these guys. They should pay them 23 years worth of wages, and not just the wages they think they would have made. They should give them millions of dollars, because if the state screws up like this, it should cost them millions of dollars. Going back to the death penalty, and particularly this Troy Davis situation, now they had 9 witnesses against this guy. So, I mean, it sounds like a pretty solid case. The problem is witnesses are the least reliable form of testimony, because you don't know what their motives are behind it. I prefer seeing physical evidence. I don't think you should be putting anybody to death without some type of DNA or some type of physical, actual gun. You have the actual gun and their fingerprints, that type of evidence. And with that in mind, we would have to stop the death penalty for cases before the year 2000, just to make sure we don't accidentally put somebody to death, like I think we have been doing. What was interesting is that 7 out of these 9 witnesses actually came out and said that their testimony was wrong because, well, they were intimidated by the police, and they were coerced by the police. 7 out of the 9 witnesses came out and basically refuted their own testimony, and we're still going to put this guy to death? Well, we did put him to death. We did kill this guy. Well, the state did, but I mean, really, you feel comfortable putting somebody to death after all these witnesses come out and say, "Oh, well, that wasn't entirely true"? And what's also weird about it is that they didn't actually find a weapon. I don't think they actually had the murder weapon, so they couldn't actually physically prove that he did it. So, yes, I am in favor of the death penalty, because you can use the death penalty to actually get bargains out of the real criminals, the real murderers. For example, you can get them to plead out to life Instead of, you could always use the death penalty as either you sign here or we'll give you the death penalty, because we already have enough evidence to convict you. The problem with that, of course, is I'm not even confident that these guys have enough evidence to actually rightfully convict people. I don't. They're completely unreliable. So, in principle, I'm not against the death penalty, but in America, these state governments, they've been screwing up time and time again. So, there's just no way I can really support the death penalty actually being used in this country with this type of law enforcement and this type of legal system. With that said, what do you guys think? Should we still keep the death penalty, or should we just toss it out? At this point, I can't count on these guys for anything. I don't trust anything they tell me. We gotta toss it out. Alright guys, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and don't forget the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. Bye.